that Donald Trump has achieved here in the last few hours. Let's speak to Mary Frances Berry, who's Professor of History at the University of Pennsylvania. Professor Berry, thank you for joining us. Of course, Pennsylvania, that key big prize swing state. And I think overnight that was the moment that the momentum really changed, I think, in Donald Trump's favor, didn't it, when we had those first projections that he was going to take Pennsylvania?
Absolutely. Part of it was that she didn't pick Josh Stein, the governor, as VP as opposed to Walz, and I understand why she did that. More people were concerned about the economy. There were a lot of people who thought that when Trump stole Reagan's slogan, "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" And they looked back and said, "Hey, I was better off." And also all this scare tactics about terrible things he's going to do to us. He didn't do any of that while he was in office to me. So therefore, and the abortion issue worked, but it didn't work as strongly as they thought. So that was the moment when we knew that he would win. Tactics didn't work. And also that when women, the gender gap, lots of women care about the abortion issue, but they also cared about the economy, and they cared about the immigration issues, and they cared about all the rest of it. So I think the Democrats, in a sense, those who pulled the strings, outsmarted themselves in the way they played this election, and that Harris did the best she could under these circumstances. But here we go again.
Well, we look at the history of this as well. Your special subject, of course, leaving the White House, having a term out, then going back in. Right. I think it shows a sort of measure of Donald Trump's personality, didn't it? That most people, if they're voted out, they go off into the sunset. But he took it so personally. He made this his mission to come back again.
And he also, fortuitously or otherwise, we don't know, he had so many attacks on him. And then he would survive. It was sort of like, no matter what you did to him, what the Democrats did to him, he would survive. And then you had the assassination attempts. You had all of these things that happened to him. And he is a great entertainer. We know that, and he has been. You can argue it, but a successful businessman, at least he's got money. Lots of it, we think. But in fact, he was able to bounce back. And also that what they kept saying in the media, she had the mainstream media on her side, of course, Kamala Harris did. But what they kept saying, Trump should stay on message. He should not entertain the crowds by saying all this stuff. The crowds came out because he was entertaining them. And then he would finally get to his message. So he's just a survivor, I guess you would call it that, and he knows how to present himself, and that part of it is a genius for him. And of course, as you
I think
said,
that's probably a description he'd appreciate. Professor,
well,
say that just describing as a survivor, I think that's something that he'd really he'd appreciate himself. I think that was certainly something that he was trying to paint himself as throughout the campaign. Professor, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. And of course,
all right,
we're talking about the election results and the impact here in America.